Welcome everybody for round 4 of the PCDC Managers League here at Mexico, and we have Emerson Fittipaldi in the Ferrari lining up on the front row, and Alain Prost in second. And now we have Emerson Fittipaldi getting off to a good start. So does his teammate Mauricio Gugelmin, and then comes through John Nielsen, who has had a really good run down to turn 1 and might even take a shot here at P1. No, he slots in behind, and the two Ferraris are side by side. Mauricio Gugelmin and Emerson Fittipaldi. They do manage to get through first section pretty cleanly there, so let's take a look there as now Nelson Piquet sticks his nose out past or next to the Zach speed of John Nielsen, and then Alain Prost down to 5th now, so 3 positions lost for Alain Prost, unfortunately. But he will surely try his best to get back up the field, and then we'll take a look here. Uncharacteristically, Jan Lammers also down in 6th, so the Zach speeds not having that blistering qualifying pace that they've shown before. Ross Cheever doing really well here in the Minardi, up in 7th position, and actually looks like he might want to challenge Jan Lammers. He doesn't do so, as he now drops back a little bit, and does have Ayrton Senna now behind him, who's looking to challenge. But we do see towards the front now, as I think Ayrton Senna gets that move done. We also see Nelson Piquet fighting for that 4th position in the Benetton together with Prost, and Prost has to concede there. But a nice little train here. Do keep in mind the top 3 only had less than a tenth actually between them. So yeah, that was very interesting to see. As now Emerson Fittipaldi has created a little bit of a gap for his towards his teammate. So 1-2 for Ferrari at the moment. Ayrton Senna now in the Lotus looking pretty alright. We know the Lotus is not quite up to pace like they were last time, but they're just looking to finish races at this point. And they did get a good result last time around, as they I believe had a double points finish. So Senna managed to get a 3rd place, and Moreno, I think, ended up in 5th, if I'm not mistaken. But Ayrton Senna now past Ross Cheever. Ross Cheever now down in 8th, as Fittipaldi puts in the fastest lap, so he's showing some good pace. But his teammate Gugelmin keeping up is, of course, getting a little bit of slipstream. 2 Ferraris looking great. Now Nelson Piquet also looking great, so that Benetton, that Ilmor Haas partnership looking well, looking very nice so far. I'm sure team manager Rexter isn't complaining. So Jan Lammers in 6th, then Ayrton Senna with his teammate Moreno right behind, who has just gotten past Ross Cheever. So Ross Cheever, good qualifying session, but seems to be dropping back a little bit. Maybe has been a bit unfortunate with slipstream and such. So also Michael Andretti just inside the top 10. Further down we have Satoru Nakajima, then comes Riccardo Patrese in the Ligier, and then comes Martin Brundle, who's actually doing really well in the Williams. Brundle taking a look up the inside, but he won't be able to carry enough speed. Has to concede a little bit as Patrese holds him pretty tight there. And now we'll see here Alonso Jr. making a move on who's that? Mika Hakkinen, the young Finn. And then we also see there, I think that is Theo Fabi trying a move, as we have the 2 BMWs next to each other. So a couple of teammates getting into the way of each other. And Fabi actually in front of Rahal. So that is also a bit of a surprising sign, as it seemed that Rahal had been getting the better of him in the past couple races. And then further back we have Eddie Lawson down in 18th. Then comes JJ Leto in the second Benetton. So Leto not having the best time so far. Then comes Pierluigi Martini. Actually putting up a well, decent performance so far, I must say. He's doesn't look like much, but obviously we know the slipstream is important here. But he is sticking to the rookie JJ Leto, and maybe if he gets a good run out of this corner here, he might be able to overtake him and then close that gap to Eddie Lawson and Teo Fabi in front. Then in last 21st, that is, Yannick Dalmas, who's seems to be struggling still in that McLaren, and you do wonder if McLaren might start to look at a new option for Dalmas, because well, he's been underperforming in that McLaren, to say the least. Alain Prost, his teammate, up in 5th, and 5 laps gone, and Dalmas is already about 10 seconds behind his teammate. So yeah, you wonder if McLaren is considering some sort of replacement at this point, because he's definitely not making the most of that package. And someone that is struggling also, Jeff Lees. Jeff Lees not qualifying the best, and we know that BMW package, like we can see with Bobby Rahal and Teo Fabi, is a bit underpowered at this stage. Obviously a new entry. BMW does have experience, but compared to, let's say, the Ilmar Haas, who also didn't look exceptionally strong at the start of the season, we do now notice, especially with Nelson Piquet, that Ilmar Haas package has really been worked on and has been developed at quite a rapid rate, I must say. But it is looking much better at the moment than the BMW package, as you, yeah, like I said, Bobby Rahal and Teo Fabi also struggling on this track, as yeah, the top speed just isn't there for that BMW engine. JJ Leto, though, trying to slowly make his way up. He's now getting to the back of Teo Fabi, so granted some time, I think Leto is in for a good race here, and he should be able to make up some positions. At the front, though, Emerson Fittipaldi looking very, very, very tidy at the moment, with running in first place, about 1.4 seconds ahead of his teammates, and then obviously his teammate Gugelmin looking very good as well. And now Senna, thought about going up the inside of Jan Lammers. Definitely putting in a good effort. Let's see here. And we get back onto that fight. Senna won't have enough to try this time, but here is Roberto Moreno and Ross Cheever still going at it. Cheever gonna go to the inside. Moreno covers it off, though. So Moreno goes into Ese Moise Solana, I think it's called, I'm not sure. But now down Recta Trasera, and then Ese del Lago. But Michael Andretti still in 10th, is being chased down by Satoru Nakajima. It's not a great camera, but John Nielsen in 3rd now, trying to make his way up to the back of Gugelmin in that second Ferrari. And as they go through the S's, they'll end up on Recta del Ovalo, and then that is this straight. And then they'll head into Peraltada, which is a nicely angled corner. A lot of camber there, can carry maximum speed. It's full throttle. And then, as we can see now, Michael Andretti going through there as well. And up the inside comes Satoru Nakajima, but surely Michael Andretti has a good run here on the straight now. Seem like it, and they'll go side by side once again, and Martin Brundle is also challenging for P12 behind. And he's gonna try and sneak it up the inside, but just doesn't have enough oomph there at the end, doesn't manage to do it in the braking zone. But Brundle definitely trying his hardest. Michael Andretti there covering off Riccardo Patrese. So Andretti now holding on to 11th, but the danger here for him is he has to hold off Patrese behind. He might drop out of range of the slipstream of Satoru Nakajima ahead of him. So he has to be mindful of that. Ayrton Senna now trying once again up the inside of Jan Lammers, but it seems that outside line you're just able to carry so much more speed that Senna isn't quite managing to get anything done there. See though, Senna in that Lotus really closing up in the medium speed sections. So we know that Zach Speed has some good straight line speed, but Senna trying his best to get past. Maybe a move up into the hairpin, but not close enough. John Nielsen still in that third spot. Then comes Alain Prost. So Alain Prost also looking good in fourth position. Did drop back after his initial start. Got a poor getaway. But you can take a look at the lap times right now. So as they'll go to Peraltada, we'll keep an eye here on the lap time, see how they compare. So we have a 17-0 for Fittipaldi. Very closest teammate, only less than half a tenth behind there. And then John Nielsen, Alain Prost, PK, and Senna. Actually, looks like PK and Senna might be able to catch up to Alain Prost here, as he's lost about 2/10 last lap. So let's see if PK can get back into that slipstream range. We'll go through the grid again. So yeah, PK in fifth there, doing a good job. Then comes Ayrton Senna, Jan Lammers, Roberto Moreno. Ross Cheever now in ninth. He's settling into this race a bit more now. So initially qualified quite well, but now dropped to just outside of the points. So he'll be hoping for some retirements in front of him. And that Ford engine carrying Minardi to, well, trying to carry that Minardi to some points here at Mexico. Of course, is very critical, the engine on this track. And we have Nakajima here in 10th position. He's managed to not entirely get away with Patrese behind, but Michael Andretti does seem to be dropping back. And Martin Brundle now up in the fight for 14th. He's still trying to get past Mika Hakkinen. Alan Sir Jr. in 15th. Does seem like the Tyrrells are really struggling on this track. We've seen some good performances. They're always, well, on the edge of points, or are in the points. Actually, as we say that, Ayrton Senna is gonna pull off to the side. And that's gonna be another retirement for Senna, who's only finished from the first 3 races. He's only finished the last one in Monaco. And once again, reliability taking a toll for Lotus. So very much Lotus being vulnerable again like they were last year. They managed to build a fast car, but not reliable enough to get to the finish line, it seems, or at least in a consistent manner. But Emerson Fittipaldi comes off of a 4th place, I believe, and is 5th in the Drivers' Championship. But a win here, of course, would be very beneficial for him, and also Ferrari, as Ferrari is leading the the constructor standings over Zach Speed, I believe. And yeah, so far Fittipaldi looking good. His teammate Maurizio Gugelmin also looking very nice. And well, Mauricio Gugelmin, he's second in the driver standings right now. He's gotten 2 second places and then a DNF last round. So yeah, Gugelmin still quite young. He has a very real thing going on here at Ferrari, and well, he's showing why he should be in F1, as last year he didn't get a seat with anyone, but seems like he's here to prove a point, and so far, the way this is going, he can propel himself to equal John Nielsen. If the race would end like this, he would be equal on points with John Nielsen. John Nielsen would still be first in the Drivers' Championship just on the fact that he has 1 win. Mauricio Gugelmin doesn't have a win yet, but yeah, the Brazilian looking very good. And surely picking up some tips from the old veteran in Fittipaldi in front of him. But as you can see, he's not far off the well-decorated Fittipaldi. Well, let's now take a look at Nelson Piquet. He's very much closing up onto the back of Alain Prost. As they head through Peraltada and onto the main straight, let's go on board. Don't think Piquet is quite close enough to pick up the slipstream, but let's see here. Because, yeah, it does seem that Benetton has a bit more straight line speed than the McLaren in front of him, so not looking bad. So Nelson Piquet might be in striking range here. Jan Lammers now seems to be struggling a little bit. Lammers not really getting extracting the maximum out of the Zach speed this round, it seems. So he's a bit further back in 6th, still in the points, of course, but Roberto Moreno and Ross Cheever not far behind, and they're looking to pounce, of course. So would be valuable points for the likes of Prost, Piquet, and well, also Roberto Moreno and Ross Cheever. It is last time around, of course, surprise win for Nelson Piquet as we change back to him, because it looks like this battle is about to start brewing here. He might be in the slipstream, but yeah, Nelson Piquet doing really well at Monaco, and whatever deficit they had in the engine department and maybe aero, they've well, it seems they got on top of that, and it was very impressive how Piquet drove to a win. Sure, it wasn't completely on pace and pace alone. It very much was a good strategic call, which made it so that Piquet had a massive undercut on most of the field, and he actually utilized those fresh tires to get in front, which we know in Monaco track position is very, very important. And well, he managed to stay out and get his car to the end in first place. So it did see Piquet moving up into 4th place in the driver's standing. So yeah, he's done really well. Roberto Moreno here, he's trying a move onto one of the Zach speeds, which is Jan Lammers. But again, Moreno not quite getting the run he would like. John Nielsen still in 3rd place. He is trying to get onto the back of that Ferrari, but if we check the lap times, pretty much matching Google Mint. As Jeff Lees now challenging Dalmas at the back. Jeff Lee's not having the best of times. His teammate Brundle, though, up into 13th, and he is quite close to Mika Hakkinen in front. So Brundle putting in decent effort in that Williams. Oh, and now, as I stepped away there for just a second, Emerson Fittipaldi with a smoking car there. Smoke coming out of the back of Fittipaldi's car, so he will lose the lead. And it seems that after 17 laps, the engine of Fittipaldi has started to give way. He's still going, but I'm not sure. It's a long lap to get to the pits, and well, it looks kind of like a terminal issue, but we'll see here. Yeah, so there goes Fittipaldi, pulls off at the start of the well, just before the hairpin, I think this is. Yes, it is. So the marshals will come out, and unfortunately, that will be Fittipaldi out of this race with the engine failure. Does mean his teammate Maurizio Gugelmin moves up into first place, and he's still well out of reach of the clutches of John Nielsen. So Ferrari's still in the lead, but obviously they would have liked to have their two cars at the front. Meanwhile, though, we see Nelson Piquet has actually managed to get past Alain Prost. As we hear now over the radio, some of the first pit calls are coming in. So obviously this year, with the removal of refueling, some of the cars, well, all of the cars have to come in a bit earlier on their first stint, because obviously they're running on heavy fuel loads, and the tires degrade much faster this way. And we do now see those first pit calls starting to come in, so Alain Prost may be looking to get back in front of Piquet this way, and it might be a good strategic call. We also see Brundle that is coming in early to pit, so he's looking to get maybe a little bit of an undercut on the cars in front of him and possibly move himself closer to some points. We'll see now as Nielsen also came into the pits. There goes Prost. And now Mauricio Gugelmin has a clean track in front and behind him. Closest being Nelson Piquet, but he's quite a ways back, as you can see. Martini now trying a move on JJ Leto it was. And now Jan Lammers moving up into third after some of those pit stops come in. Ross Cheever also getting a pit call. He might be one to capitalize as well. He has two pretty fast cars in front of him, and Roberto Moreno and Jan Lammers, and that undercut might work out for him. Actually there, I think Jan Lammers running a little bit wide, which compromised his line through the S's. As we'll have to manually switch to him to kind of follow him around, but going to the S's are now down the straight into the oval section, and let's see if Moreno can create enough overspeed. No, I don't think he can. And meanwhile now Ross Cheever coming in. Also Mika Hakkinen in the Ligier. So, yeah, we'll see. PK holding that second place right now. Obviously still has to pit. Have to see how that works out. As we ride on board with him here. "20 laps into the 67 lap race now. Nakajima in 6th also still has to pit. The Eurobrun, the Jägermeister Eurobrun, very recognizable livery of course. Then in 11th we have Theo Fabi. Oh, now Dalmas is fighting with Mika Hakkinen, but Dalmas hasn't pitted yet. So he's on some old rubber, and you can see the difference in speed as now Martin Brundle is hoping to hopefully get past in a timely manner. Now more cars coming into pit. But oh, Bobby Rahal with a big mistake. Oh, and he actually takes out his wheel. But I don't know what happened there. It seemed like he almost had some sort of failure. Oh, he must have had a collision. Must have had a collision with Nielsen, perhaps. Let's see. Oh, I'm not sure what happened there, but it might have been a case of Nielsen coming out close to... I want to say that's probably what happened. Coming out close to Bobby Rahal, and then maybe the difference in speed coming through the oval section there, or like the half oval, they might have collided with each other. So that's Bobby Rahal out of the race, and John Nielsen, after his pit stop, pretty much drops to the back of the field. So that's a well, disaster a bit for Zach Speed here, as John Nielsen will have to make up a lot of ground, and plenty of racing remaining. So I'm not saying he can't get in the points anymore, but it's gonna be quite tough for him from this point onwards. Now in comes Nelson Piquet. We also have Jan Lammers, who still has to pit, Riccardo Patrese. And obviously with one of the big runners like Zach Speed dropping out, we'll try to see other teams capitalize and try to bag some points. But yeah, a lot of shuffling around now. And Alain Prost actually setting the fastest lap just a moment ago, as he's right behind Nelson Piquet there. And now Nielsen actually putting in the fastest lap. So even though he had that collision, he's very focused, trying to put some good lap times in. Let's actually see how fast that lap was. So yeah, Nielsen about 0.3 faster than Prost. So yeah, impressive lap time, but like we said, he has to make up a lot of time to be able to finish inside the points. We'll see how he deals with that. As now I think all the remaining cars are gonna come into pit. And it does mean that Mauricio Gugelmin is now running into the lead, and has a very comfortable lead, as he's 8 seconds ahead of the nearest car, being Nelson Piquet. And actually now we do see that Piquet is in second, in a net second, and Alain Prost third. So Prost possibly looking at a podium here today. As we now get more pit stops here. The autos shuffle out. And yeah, Piquet in second, then comes Prost. So Jan Lammers in fourth, who has Ross Cheever and Roberto Moreno not too far behind. Then comes Riccardo Patrese. And then Michael Andretti just inside that top 8 for some points perhaps. Then comes Mika Hakkinen in the Ligier, then Satoru Nakajima. Martin Brundle on the cusp of some, of not points, but a top 10 at least for Williams. So yeah, Brundle really trying to put in a good stint here. As Gugelmin actually putting the hammer down, and he's just set the fastest lap. So Gugelmin finding some pace in that Ferrari, very impressive. And yeah, John Nielsen now in 13th, trying to hunt down the cars in front of him. But he still has to make up, I think, 13 or 14 seconds to be inside the top 8. But he's gonna put his West Zach speed through the ringer, I'm sure. And he'll be keen to make up those positions once again. Now we can see Nelson Piquet still in second place, Alain Prost in third there, not too far behind, about 1.5 seconds between them. Now on board with Lummers, who's in fourth in the Zach speed. But yeah, you can see the Zach speed not really that impressive today. We've seen some very impressive rounds from them previously, but here at Mexico, they're just not quite finding that same magic they found in the previous round. So don't know if that's car related, setup related. Could be a whole host of things. One that's not really enjoying the race right now, Jeff Lees in that Williams. Only in front of Yannick Dalmas, which is at this point not really a great comparison. Oh, and to add insult to injury, we now see John Nielsen has a flat tire. Puncture for John Nielsen, and he has to actually pull off the track. Don't know which tire it is. It looks like it might be the front right. But yeah, that's one of the Zach speeds out of this race now. So only Jan Lammers left to score some points for Zach speed here. So the two top contending teams in Zach Speed and Ferrari both have a driver out now. That's actually, well, both Lammers and Nielsen only had one DNF each in the first 3 rounds, so actually looking quite good there, Zach Speed on the old reliability. But yeah, even these top running teams, you can see, are struggling at times with reliability. And Alessio Gugelmin still doing a perfect job here at the front. He's managing that Ferrari perfectly as he comes through the hairpin, and now he goes through turns 7 and 8 into the S's. Very nicely flowing piece of track. And as Gugelmin comes through down Recta della Ovalo and into Peraltada, then down the start-finish straight once again. And now covering pretty well. Let's go back to Alain Prost actually. But yeah, Prost here in third place, so doesn't look like he has quite the pace to challenge Piquet in front, but I think at this point a podium for Prost would be he would be very happy with. Because he's only finished one of the first 3 races, and then the one that he finished was just outside of those podium paying positions. And obviously we know that Prost expects nothing less to be fighting for championships. And obviously he has shown that he deserves a championship winning car under him and a team. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this should be a good round to boost that confidence for Prost and McLaren. And let's hope they make it to the end. But yeah, so far so good. So Jan Lammers for Zach Speed in 4th. Alberto Moreno and Ross Cheever, not much to separate these two. But we do now see that Riccardo Patrese and even behind Michael Andretti, Mika Hakkinen and Satoru Nakajima are slowly closing up on them. Patrese actually getting quite close now to the back of Ross Cheever. I'm pretty sure he's in the slipstream. Oh, and there, the suspension gives up for Riccardo Patrese in the Ligier as he's slowing down. That front left wheel, just a complete failure on the front left suspension there, as you saw. And that is a very swift exit there for Riccardo Patrese, just as he was making up some good time. And yeah, disaster for Ligier, as Patrese will drop out of this race and once again not score any points like last time in Monaco. So Patrese down in 15th in the standings, and his teammate Mika Hakkinen scoring once in the first round. So yeah, really unfortunate there for Ligier, as the car will be lifted over the barriers into the safety. But yeah, Ligier so far not looking as competitive as they were last year. That is for sure. They had that fight with Minardi for the 3rd spot, I believe it was, in the constructors. Yeah, not quite living up to those heights right now. And Gugelmin still just managing that lead. He's keeping the gap to PK about even. And Prost now also just managing his race in 3rd, as he's a bit in no man's land now, as he's dropping back from PK, but Lammers is about 10 seconds behind him, so he just has to manage his car until the end. JJ Little in the 2nd Benetton. Definitely not able to match Nelson Piquet for now. But he's giving it a good shot. Mauricio Gugelmin now going through the S's. Nothing to worry about for the Brazilian Nelson Piquet. Another Brazilian is managing his gap to Alain Prost, who's now nearly 4 seconds behind. Jan Lammers in 4th again. Just he's able to keep the distance from Moreno and Cheever, but just takes one mistake, I think, and that would be it. Martin Brundle now running inside the top 10. He's doing a quite a good job in that Williams. Trying to drag it up to perhaps a point-paying position at some point, but so far Brundle also suffering 2 DNFs in the 3 races that we've had. His teammate Jeff Lees did manage to score a single point in the first Grand Prix, so that was definitely a highlight for Williams, as they scored their points so early on, but we do hope, obviously, that they can speed up the development a bit throughout the year here and maybe be in a good fight to be on the edge of some points, because they're not that far off. Brundle has shown that they have good pace to be on the edge of those points, be at the front of that midfield. But someone else now running inside the points is Mika Hakkinen, so we'll actually go him. Hakkinen now into his second year of F1. Also had some highlights last year already with, I believe most notably the win that he got. Which, if I remember correctly, was it at Imola? I'm not sure. But the young Finn's still easily the youngest driver on the grid right now. And he is, well, trying to get up to the back of Michael Andretti in the Tyrrell. And would be very nice for Ligier to get some more points on the board, as they're suffering for points a bit. Only 7 points. They're not too far behind the teams in front of them, but Mika Hakkinen trying his best to work his way up, and doesn't have too much speed over Andretti. I think he might be slightly faster, but if he managed to get inside the slipstream and then time his run onto the start-finish straight, he might be able to get past quite smoothly. Yeah, Mika Hakkinen has had his highlights last year and definitely showed a lot of talent, but this year it seems that the Ligier isn't quite there in terms of pace. Patrese, of course, has also kind of shown that. So Patrese usually in front of Hakkinen, but also just in that midfield scrap and not quite comfortably inside the points. So they also are looking to develop their car quite significantly throughout the year. And obviously after this race here at Mexico, we will have another upgrade round where every team will get some upgrades onto their car for the next round, which will hopefully propel them to new heights. Michael Andretti in that Tyrrell still managing. Didn't look too promising for Tyrrell early on, as they were quite far down the grid. We still have Alonso Jr. in 11th. So anything fine. Theo Fabi now, that second BMW. Again, Fabi has been struggling early on in this season. Maybe he's just finding his feet at the new team. Obviously, he was at Ferrari last year and now has to get settled in at the new team BMW. Also a new team on the grid, of course. They weren't an existing team. So he's very much still finding his feet at that team, and surely throughout the year we'll see him improving, hopefully, as PK is still running. Oh, and Gugelmin just completely misses his corner. I'm not sure if that was some sort of brake failure or whatever happened, but Gugelmin is in the wall. Gugelmin into the wall, and that's the second Ferrari out of the race. As we can see there, oh, Alain Prost hitting a wheel that was on the track, but Prost now into second, and PK once again into the lead. I cannot believe it. Is he gonna do it a second time in a row and surprise everyone here? Alain Prost now into a lofty P2. Does mean that Jan Lammers in the Zach Speed will be promoted up into the podium position, so might be some solace there for Edison. And obviously we do see also Moreno very close behind. Moreno and Cheever both looking at that that podium position now in front of them. But yeah, very big mistake there by Gugelmin, and not sure what happened to him there, but that was quite a critical mistake there, and in one fell swoop, both of the Ferraris are now out of the race. So Fittipaldi with that early engine issue, and yeah, Gugelmin just an error, a human error, it seemed like. But yeah, PK now in a very comfortable lead, as he's quite far ahead of Alain Prost behind, as you just saw him come into the screen there. But we'll see here what the gap is. So PK comes across the line now. I suspect it's quite a bit more than 5 seconds, which is what shows on the board. It's 6 seconds, okay. Seems that he's back further behind, but yeah, PK in the lead again for Benetton, and this could, well, once again, just shoot him right up the standings. I think it would, with the way it is now, he would actually end up possibly in P1 even in the driver's standings. So yeah, because he would be on 21 points. The closest would be John Nielsen with 18 points. Second place is Alain Prost, who's only on 5 points so far. PK being on 11. So yeah, PK could take the lead of the Drivers' Championship here in Mexico. So, well, if you drew this up at the start of the season, I wouldn't have believed it. But yeah, doing very good here, PK. And I'm sure Raxter is loving life right now. He's watching his star excel, and obviously we still have about 30 laps to go, but PK looking on fire, and he's determined to get a good season under his belt once again, as he's been struggling in the past one. Oh, and another issue, I think. Who's that? That is Alain Prost. Alain Prost with a mistake. So Alain Prost had a spin into turn 1, maybe just pushing that McLaren a bit too much, and might have taken a toll, but that means now that Jan Lammers is right onto the back of Prost. And we'll see now if Lammers can hold on to the back of that McLaren. Prost did have some decent speed, so I'm sure if he can just get back into his rhythm, he will be able to eke that gap out again to the Zach speed, but yeah, it could be quite a costly mistake there for Prost. And it's a mistake that we don't see him make quite often, so yeah, very unlike Prost. It does make me wonder if he might have been pushing that McLaren a bit too far. He's definitely extracting a lot more pace out of it compared to his teammate Dalmas, who's in last. But yeah, we'll see now, as some of the cars are now getting another pit call. So this will be the second and most likely the last pit stop of the race for some of these cars. We did expect a 2-stop for this one, but Prost now has Jan Lammers right up the back of him, and actually goes slightly defensive as they go into the hairpin here. Lammers, yeah, really close up now. But Prost doing a good job. He composed himself again, and in this S section he's actually managing to create a little bit of distance. It's only on the straightaways that the Zach speed is really gaining quite a bit of time. And we will now see that Prost comes into pit here, so he's gonna get off of that set of tires, which, well, will obviously have some sort of flat spots on it after that spin, so better to get rid of those tires, and we'll follow him in here. As he comes in, it's a new set of tires on there. There he goes. Very nice stop there by McLaren. 4.8 seconds, which is yeah, a very fast pit stop. If we 2 seconds faster than Moreno behind of him, and that might make up for the mistake that Prost made there, as we did see a little bit of a battle here with Alain Jr. and Martin Brundle. Brundle now also getting the pit call, so he might be able to undercut Alain Jr. here. It does seem Alain Jr. is holding up Martin Brundle a little bit here. Follow these guys now, as Hauser does seem like he will carry on for a couple more laps, perhaps, as PK now comes out of the pits a second time. We'll make him drop behind Ross Cheever, but I'm sure won't take too much time to get past. But yeah, in comes Martin Brundle looking for that undercut, and plenty of other cars coming through now. And momentarily we have Ross Cheever in the lead for Minardi. Obviously we know he still has to make a pit stop, but still it will be a bit of a good feeling for Minardi, propelling themselves again to reminisce over those races from last year, which they won. Well, I think at some point, I think they won 3-4 races, perhaps. So they had a very, very successful season last year. This one has gotten off to a slow start a little bit. Ross Cheever, 11th in the drivers, 4 points so far. His teammate Pierluigi Martini not performing as well as Cheever. No points yet. 1 DNF. Ross Cheever in that Pepsi liveried Minardi, also very recognizable, carries the colors of Pepsi, and being propelled by the Ford engine, of course, as the fastest lap now set by Prost on his new tires puts in a 15.7. So he's definitely looking at making up some time compared to Jan Lammers, which actually I think he's done now. So yeah, we can see here. So very fast pit stop for McLaren, and once again he's now created quite a bit of a gap, that being Alain Prost to the cars behind of him. So yeah, slight mistake for McLaren, and namely Alain Prost, but he has managed to recover quite well, imposed himself, got back into the rhythm, and is now moving on with this race. And he'll still be in a net second position, as he does seem to be eking out that gap ever so slightly to Jan Lammers behind. Now we have Ross Cheever here, is actually challenging the Benetton a bit, even though he still has to pit. Ross Cheever wants a bit of glory here, and I don't think Nelson Piquet agrees with it. So into the braking, obviously on fresher tires, Piquet can just about outbrake that Minardi. But Ross Cheever actually making good use of the slipstream here, as he's eking out his tires. And oh, we see here a puncture for Nakajima. He's already made a pit stop, but actually with that puncture he made it back to the pits, and he will be able to put a fresh set of tires on. So luckily for Nakajima, he won't be out of the race. He will drop a couple of positions, but he's still in this race. Ends up just behind his teammate, and here comes Pierluigi Martini. trying to put a move on that Euro run, which he does. So Pierluigi Martini up into 13th, and now we have 6 retirements so far. Let's see now, does Nakajima come back at Martini? No, not yet. PK now putting in the fastest lap. And into the pits comes Ross Cheever now. He's done battling with PK up front, and he will come in for his tire change. Let's see actually where Ross Cheever ends up. Comes out of the pits now. Oh, he's well clear of Michael Andretti behind him. That is for sure. Oh, and more issues, more issues. We have some sort of issue for Jan Lammers and Alain Prost. Oh no. And we do see Jan Lammers pulling off there in the background. But oh no, Alain Prost again with issues. This season is turning from bad to worse as he's coming through the S's. Still seems to have some sort of power in that McLaren. I doubt he'll make it back to the pits, or even will he even pull into the pits. Wow, so yeah, there goes the engine of Prost. So once again, just Prost's season is off to such a bad start. And he's just been really unlucky in that McLaren, it seems. Putting on really good pace, but for some reason it is just not coming together for Prost. And well, what a shame for the drivers' champion to be in this situation. But his car now lifted over the barrier. Very unfortunate. So now Nelson Piquet still doing well. Ross Cheever is surprisingly up into P3 now. Roberto Moreno for Lotus in P2. So yeah, Moreno doing very well. He's looking to score some more points. Only has 4 on the board so far. Both of the Heroes now also into the points, so Michael Andretti and Alonso Jr. in 4th and 6th. As they're looking at some points. Eddie Lawson now has his teammate Nakajima on those fresh tires. Coming up behind him. And yeah, Roberto Moreno still doing well. Let's actually see now Dalmas in 14th. And actually Mika Hakkinen, we were talking about him earlier, up into 5th position. So that will be very good for Ligier if they manage to score some points here. And meanwhile, Martin Brundle also looking at some points here today. So Williams, at this rate, could score 2 points as Nakajima in the Europe run putting in a fastest lap. I know he's on fresh tires, but a Europe run putting in a fastest lap, that is very respectable. And Martin Brundle now trying to close in on that 6th position of Alonso Jr. in front of him. And I'm sure the Briton could do it if he put his mind to it. And he's definitely trying to rack up a couple more points. But it would give him one extra point in this case, I think, if he... Yep, it would. So he'd, instead of 2 points, he'd get 3. But for Williams, that can make a big difference, as they've not quite looked up the pace. But oh, there's again someone with an issue. Oh, it's Nelson Piquet. Nelson Piquet has gone off track, and I'm not sure. It wasn't enough to put him into the wall, but Wow, that must have been a close moment there for PK as he's rejoined the track now and he's still in first place. He had a massive lead to Moreno behind him, but wow, that could have been a lot worse. You know what is a lot worse? JJ Leto now in that second Benetton. He has some sort of engine issue, and we can see here at Mexico, the long straights, full throttle for most of the lap is taking its toll on the cars, as we're seeing all sorts of failures now. And oh, here comes Martini and Lawson coming through there, but he manages to pull it off of the track safely, JJ Leto, but that will be the second Benetton out of this race. And that will be Leto's car lifted up over the barrier. And yeah, plenty of retirements, 9 retirements so far. And luckily for PK, he's still leading this race, but yeah, once again, it could have been a lot worse. Moreno in second, Ross Cheever in third on the podium so far, and Michael Andretti in fourth. Then comes Mika Hakkinen, then Al Unser Jr., Martin Brundle, as we'll go on board with him for a while here. Is looking at the back of that Tyrrell in front of him, and he is trying his darnest to get closer. Actually, I'll leave you on board here for a couple of laps with Martin Brundle. I'll be right back. And as we come back now, Martin Brundle not managing to get much closer to Al Unser Jr. in front, it seems. And meanwhile, Eddie Lawson looking at the back of Luigi Martini, and also Jeff Lees trying to get past Lawson. Nelson Piquet still in first. He's managing this race well, except for that little mistake he had. And Roberto Moreno managing that second place. The Brazilian in the Lotus putting in a good race here, and it could be a very, very valuable 8 points for Lotus. As so far, the only time they scored was last race with Senna in third and then Moreno in fifth. So yeah, some extra points here for Lotus would be much welcomed by the team, I think. And so far, so good for Roberto Moreno. Ross Cheever could also pick up some big points, 6 points for Minardi, which would be very nice. And then obviously Michael Andretti is still holding off Mika Hakkinen behind him. Then a bit further back we have Alonso Jr. with Martin Brundle not too far behind him. And actually, Theo Fabi hasn't scored any points so far. His teammate has. He has 8 points, but Theo Fabi looking at a single point here for BMW. So that would be good for the Italian to give a little boost to his confidence as well. So yeah, the Italian doing great in the BMW in 8th place. Obviously has benefited from all those retirements, but in the end, he does have to take the car until the last lap of the race, so that is also a skill. Satoru Nakajima just outside of the points, but let's actually compare lap times, because I have a feeling that he could actually catch Theo Fabi at this rate. He's gaining about a half a second or so, which well, he has about 15 laps left, so technically is possible. It'd be very hard though. It's gonna be very hard for Nakajima to catch up to Fabi. Oh, and now an issue here. Jeff Lees. It wasn't like he was gonna challenge for any points anytime soon, but unfortunately he will have to pull off to the side with a puncture. So yeah, Mexico really taking its toll on a lot of the cars here. Because I think, not mistaken, but I think soon we'll be looking at the most retirements of this season. There is, let's see, 10 retirements right now. And 4, 8, 10. So yeah, the most retirements so far is 10, I believe. And that was in the first round, so obviously the cars have been upgraded in this while. They've been able to work on some reliability. But yeah, lots of cars retiring, so if there's one more retirement, it would be the most retirements of the season. Which obviously we don't hope for that. We don't want that to happen, because we do like to see our drivers finish the race. Meanwhile, Ross Cheever, 1.5 seconds between him and Moreno, between a third and second place. Could mean a lot to Minardi and MDK. Yo, Fabi still managing that 8th place. Trying to keep his distance from Nakajima, who's hot on his heels. Nelson PK now, as we'll stay along for the ride with him for a while here. Cillian doing really well, just managing his race, has about 13.5 seconds to Roberto Moreno behind him. So he's looking in good shape with a little over 10 laps to go. As he comes through Peraltada onto the start-finish straight to start lap 55 of 67. And the Benetton, well, if he does make it to here, the Benetton really in an upwards trajectory all of a sudden. And I'm sure Raxter will be incredibly happy with a result like this. Obviously, we don't want to jinx it, but yeah, PK looking very solid. See, I think the closest, if you could call it a fight, would be between Moreno and Cheever. So I want to take a look. Oh yeah, Cheever up in third, chasing down second. Michael Andretti still just about keeping his distance to Mika Hakkinen behind. And we have Alancer Jr., his teammate, staying ahead, just ahead of Martin Brundle in the Williams. Then comes Teo Fabi, Satoru Nakajima. Pierluigi Martini with a top 10. So teammate is in third at the moment. He's about, what is that, a 40 odd seconds behind his teammate, but Martini sticking in there. And well, this is also one of those cases where you wonder if Minardi have made the right choice in their second driver, because Martini hasn't really showed much so far this season, and yet again he's running towards the back of the field here, and compared to his teammate, he is a long way off pace. And yeah, again, you wonder if that seat is deserved that he's driving right now. And there was actually rumors earlier on in the year that MDK and Minardi were actually looking at replacing Martini for Ross Cheever's brother, Eddie Cheever. So they were very much looking at replacing him, or that was the rumor at least. We don't have anything confirmed, but that was very much a rumor. But obviously there was also the rumor then that Martini, who's obviously a big, brings in big funds for Minardi, was then gonna take legal action if Martini tried to do something along those lines, because they do have a contract in terms of like sponsorships. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But so far Martini hasn't really done anything to warrant his drive being secured for Minardi here, and we'll see if anything changes for them in the future. But so far he's just going along, putting in his laps. Obviously we hope he can improve, maybe adjust to the car, learn a little bit from, get some tips, pointers from Ross Cheever perhaps. But it seems like they might not be on the best terms then, if the rumors are true. Roberto Moreno still in that second place. It almost seems like Ross Cheever is coming closer. Go back to Fini, let's see now. So it was Ross Cheever with a 16.1. Not a tenth, just under a tenth faster than Moreno last lap. So Yeah, Ross Cheever could perhaps challenge, but be very difficult for him. Do you want to keep an eye on it, because it does seem he's getting closer and he might be just inside of that slipstream range. And once again, Ross Cheever, last year he showed some brilliant races. He got a couple of rounds in where he sat in for one of the two minority drivers and actually showed that he could do very well, as I think someone spun. Was that Martin Brundle? I do think it was. Yes, Martin Brundle with a spin. Which, well, it's good. He doesn't lose a position there, but that could have also been a crucial mistake from Brundle. And he is still in 7th, but a bit shaken up perhaps. But he carries on. And yeah, Ross Cheever definitely very close now. He's within 4:10, so Cheever here towards the last 7 laps of the race. He's gonna try and make a move on Moreno for 2nd place, I believe. We'll see here now as they head into Esa del Lago. Turn 4 and 5, and then they head into the hairpin. And then they end up onto, well, straight into the S section, I should say. It's almost a double S section, as we now hear in the background that Eddie Lawson has some sort of engine issue, and he will very likely retire, which will make it the which will definitely make it the most amount of retirements for the season, as Ross Cheever, no, he doesn't quite get the run there. Has to be a bit more patient. It's maybe, but he's down the straightaway. He's not too far behind. Will he try anything into turn 1? No, not. Just about far enough away as Roberto Moreno in front of him. So Moreno does hold him off for another lap, and that is coming up to Eddie Lawson now, who's stopped on the inside. So yeah, Eddie Lawson out of the race. And Ross Cheever now once again very close to Roberto Moreno as they going through the S section. Let's see here. Can he set up a move? He has a good run. Gonna go to the inside again. But once again, it doesn't work for Ross Cheever. He's gonna have to try something else. I think his best bet will try and be setting up a move on this the start-finish straight. Nelson Piquet still leads this Mexican Grand Prix. And Ross Cheever looking very hungry. He's here to prove a point. And I'm sure MDK is going crazy in the on the pit wall right now, cheering his young American on. And once again, Cheever finding a lot of extra speed through the S section here, so it seems that the minority is doing well in the corners, but just losing a bit of time on the straightaways. And let's see now, gets another run, moves to the inside again. Ross, you've tried that already. You're gonna have to try at some different part of the track. See now, does he get a run into turn 1? No, I don't think so. We're just gonna follow him along here. We'll go on board for a little bit. And again, as we're on board here with Ross Cheever, you can see in the S section, just gets right up to the back of Moreno. He's able to carry a lot more speed. But then it's then it's actually getting past that's proven quite tricky for him. And I guess we will see a repeat here again. He's gonna again try up the inside. Moreno knows what to do. But actually, oh, if he would have just held off there for just a moment, he would have been able to do something there. Again, Cheever is trying to find a way through, but so far not successful. I think Mika Hakkinen is now about a second behind Michael Andretti, so he'll be looking at making a move perhaps towards the final couple of laps here. Ross Cheever once again is closing up in this S section, but I think once again we'll see a repeat of last lap. It's very close up to the back of that Lotus. Gets a run. Is he gonna move to the inside? Yes, he does. Is he gonna be squeezed out yet again? Yes, I think he is. Yeah, Ross Cheever does have to get a little bit more creative here. Meanwhile, we have Nelson Piquet leading this race, still 3 laps to go for the Brazilian. And he could pick up his second victory of the season. And on top of that second victory, he would take I think he would take the Drivers' Championship lead with this win. So very impressive form here for PK. As we're back looking at Roberto Moreno and Ross Cheever, will follow them along, and then also I want to take a look a bit further back at Mika Hakkinen and Michael Andretti. Ross Cheever moves to the inside once again, and he's not gonna manage once again. So yeah, Mika Hakkinen within a second now of Michael Andretti in front. And he's really closing up here on the straightaway, actually. So he might be looking at making a move here. Same with Ross Cheever. He's just looking at a way to get through, but Roberto Moreno putting up a good defense so far. And again, we'll see Cheever here. It's closing up through this S section. Moreno definitely watching his mirrors as Cheever tries to set up this move time and time again. Moreno will move to the outside again. But yeah, no luck there. Mika Hakkinen seems like he's able to carry quite a bit more speed than the Tyrrell in front of him, so Let's see here now. Oh, he's closing up rapidly now. And he might get inside the slipstream range this lap. So he has 2 laps to make a big move here. And actually, Andretti has spotted him in the mirrors. And he went slightly defensive there. But that means Mika Hakkinen is now right onto the back of him. So the young Finn challenging the seasoned veteran in Michael Andretti. And Andretti again going slightly defensive. So I want to keep an eye here on Ross Cheever and Mika Hakkinen. Oh! What happened here? Oh! Someone hits the tire there as Yannick Dalmas has retired. Well, is in the process of retiring. But that was scary to say the least. So another retirement in Yannick Dalmas. So Ross Cheever won't have the chance here. Mika Hakkinen could have a good run here down onto the straightaway. See now. And he will pick up some slipstream. This will be the perfect run for Mika Hakkinen, surely. Oh, inside that slipstream now. Here he comes. Mika Hakkinen for 4th place. And we're on to the last lap, of course, of the race. So Mika Hakkinen moves up into 4th. What a nice move from the young Finn, and he moves ahead of Michael Andretti. Andretti will try to probably take a look at maybe trying to come back at the rookie in front of him. Well, he's not really a rookie anymore, but he still is in my book. Mika Hakkinen now probably desperate to hold on here. And I do want to take a look here at Nelson Piquet as he will come on to the start-finish straight to take the 2nd victory for Benetton. And here comes Roberto Moreno now. He will have to defend once more from Ross Cheever. Does Ross Cheever manage to get by? He will try once again up the inside, and no, he doesn't. So Roberto Moreno for Lotus, 2nd place, and then Ross Cheever right behind him in 3rd for Minardi. And then Mika Hakkinen with the last lap overtake will be in 4th with Michael Andretti just behind him. And then comes Alonso Jr. in 6th place, so both of the Tyrrells inside the points. And then comes Martin Brundle, very important for Williams. They'll be very happy as Martin Brundle comes across the line for 2 points, which will be very much needed. Then comes Satoru Nakajima in the Eurobrun, also scoring some points very nicely. Theo Fabi, unfortunately, just outside of the points. And then comes Pierluigi Martini in the Minardi. So only 10 finishers today. And Mexico really taking the toll on the drivers and their cars. But the real star of the show here, Nelson Piquet, with that 2nd victory. And, well, a back-to-back victory as well. So very impressive by the Brazilian in his Benetton Ilmor Haas. And, well, it looks to be the start of a very fruitful relationship as we'll go to the full race results. So Nelson Piquet gets a nice 2nd victory here back to back in Mexico City, and then comes Roberto Moreno for Lotus with some very nice points. Then Ross Cheever in the Minardi doing a very good job, scoring some very much needed points as well. And don't forget, Nelson Piquet will move up into the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Then comes Mika Hakkinen in the Ligier, also a very nice performance. 5th and 6th for the Tyrrells. Double points for them, which is very nice. I'm sure Domi will be pleased with that. Martin Brundle in the Williams scoring some points for Sebastian Erdmann, new manager at Williams. Then Satoru Nakajima in the Eurobrun, scoring some points for Cozy. Theo Fabi just outside the points for BMW. Then comes Pierluigi Martini, the last finisher of the race. Yannick Dalmas having that horrible accident a couple of laps before the end of the race there. So yeah, McLaren not having a good time today either. Then Eddie Lawson with an engine issue in 12th. Jeff Lees with a puncture in 13th. JJ Leto also had an engine issue. Prost obviously dropping out as well with an engine issue. Jan Lammers suffering some sort of electrical issues, which forced him to pull over the car. 17th will be Gugelmin, who was out fairly early with also a crash, I believe. Then Riccardo Patrese in the Ligier with a suspension failure, which we saw live actually happening, and that was also a catastrophic failure. John Nielsen for the Zach Speed. A double DNF actually for Zach Speed, so that will really hurt their championship lead that they were enjoying in the drivers, and also they were challenging for that top of the constructors, obviously. So that will put a bit of a halt for now to their very good run they've had. And then Bobby Rahal in the BMW didn't finish. Also had some sort of crash, I believe. Then Emerson Fittipaldi with an engine issue dropping out very early. And obviously, once again, Ayrton Senna dropping out for Lotus, which is very unfortunate. But at least his teammate managed to pick up some points. But yeah, very eventful race. A lot of retirements, 12 retirements. Which, well, that's unprecedented, I think. But last season we did have a lot of races where there was only a couple of finishers remaining, but this is definitely quite a lot of DNFs here, and well, I'm sure a lot of teams will be rethinking their strategies and really thinking about their upgrade rounds for round 5. So yeah, this has been round 4 in Mexico City. It's been very exciting. Another win for PK, which is extraordinary. And I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too. And we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.